Hey, this will be a yoga-ssage practice for the knees down. So I have a foam roller at the ready and a racquetball. You can use a tennis ball. I find the racquetball size works a little better for the feet. So gather up your materials and I will meet you in seated. All right, let's get started. So just finding an easy seat on the sits bones with legs extended. If it's helpful for you, you can always bring a cushion or a rolled up blanket under the hips to bring a little bit of height. And then I'm just gonna lean back a little bit and find a little bit of gentle support in the hands so I can focus more on what's happening in the legs. So first just point and flex at the ankles a few times, or plantar flex, dorsiflex. So just point those toes as far as you can away from you. Imagine you're sliding your heels back toward your body, point at the toes, and then go the opposite direction. Pull, reaching the heels away, pulling through the toes, sliding a few more times each direction. And then pause. And then imagine you're going to try to reach the inner line of your feet away and the outer line of your feet towards you. So this is E version. It's a really subtle movement, and then we'll go the opposite way. Try to reach your outside edge of your foot toward the end of your mat. Inside edge turns inward, and then make that movement a few times. And coming back to stillness, and then imagine spreading all your little toesies as far apart as you possibly can. So creating space between all the toes, reaching the big toe toward midline, reaching that little pinky toe out, just opening up space. And then imagine you're going to try to grab and hold on to something with your toes. Spread them out again. Grab and hold on. And then relax and just shake the legs, ankles organically for a moment. And then we're going to come up onto our foam roller. So I have got a pretty high density roller here. I actually recommend something a little softer if you've got it. And I'm going to bring it around under my calves. And then again, I'm going to lean back and bring those hands to the floor. If you have a lot of wrist sensitivities, rather than coming onto your palms, you can always come onto soft fists, or if you have a wedge or some plank handles or something that will help a little bit, can help you focus more on what's happening in the legs rather than worrying about those wrists. So I'm going to press into my hands in whatever position or with whatever props is helping for most ease and comfort, and I'm going to float my hips. And first I'm just going to notice and check in, because sometimes we might have sensitivities in the calves or the gastrocnemius, that big meaty part of the calf. And if it feels okay, I'm just going to start a little rolling forward and backward on that meatiest part of the calf, noticing if there's anything jumpy. And if it feels okay and I can keep a nice slow breath, I'm going to stay here. If you don't have very sensitive calves and you're not getting a lot of feedback, go ahead and bring your hips back down to the floor. And then I'm going to take one leg and cross it over the top of the other. So now only my right calf is on my foam roller. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to press those hands into the floor. I'm going to float the hips a little bit, and I'm going to start a slow roll back and forth just on that meatiest part of the calf. So the idea is that we are keeping the tissues, the muscles, connective tissues, all the soft tissues really relaxed, and we have a nice, easy, slow breath. So if I find I'm getting a little jumpy or I'm tensing up so much that that leg kind of wants to hop off, I'm going to come back to the two legs. So if you went ahead and crossed over to that single side, maybe do 2 more rolls here, and then pause and make sure you switch over to your other calf. So we're just decreasing the surface area here, so increasing the pressure on that calf. And if you're on your single side, go ahead and maybe find 2 more rolls each direction, and then pause. And then we'll all bring our hips back down to the mat. And then I'm going to roll my foam roller just a little bit further away. So I'm still in this meaty part of the calf, but I'm closer to the bottom of it. I'm not so far down that I'm getting into the Achilles. So there's this little muscle right here between the gastroc and the Achilles called the soleus, and that's what we're going for. And then same thing, I'm just going to press into my hands, float my hips, and again, just a small movement up toward the big, thickest part of the calf, down toward the heel, but not all the way onto that Achilles tendon. And just that little roll back and forth, I'm checking in. Nice, easy breath. If you're in a tender spine or you're finding the breath holding, we'll stay here. Or option, you could do a couple rolls one side. If you came over to a single side, go ahead and switch to your other side. Getting ready to release and let those sits bones come back down onto our mat. And then again, we're gonna just kind of check in here and notice a couple of options. So with my hips down on the mat, I have a lot less pressure at the calves. I'm gonna stay right at that soleus, so right between the thickest part of the calf and the Achilles. And I'm gonna check in with what it feels like to point and flex my toes, to invert and evert my feet, and or to make some little ankle circles. So some of us will be getting some pretty good feedback here. Again, we want to stay relaxed and soft in the breath. If you want a little more, go ahead, press into your hands, float your hips, and see what it feels like to point flex at the toes, invert, evert the feet, or make some ankle circles. I'm feeling pretty intense right now, so I'm going to go ahead and bring my hips back down to the mat while I move the feet a little more. And then finding stillness. We're gonna step our feet down off of our foam roller, let your foam roller go, let your whole legs come back down onto the mat, and still just leaning back just a little, just enough to find ease in the upper body and shoulders. Just let both legs, ankles, feet completely relax all the way down onto your mat. They're just totally soft. Feeling the places where you're connected to your mat, maybe heels or calves, backs of the knees. And then give the legs a little shake. And then we'll grab our racquetball or tennis ball and come all the way over to standing. Starting in an easy Tadasana. We're going to bring that racquetball or tennis ball to the floor just in front of us. And then bringing your weight to your left leg, slide your right leg back, because if you're moving toward a warrior one, but don't bring your right leg back quite as far as you would for a warrior one, so pretty narrow stance. And then we're going to bring our heel behind our racquetball and lean forward so that just our big toe comes onto the ball, and then we lean forward, bend into that left knee, trying to reach the rest of those toes down toward your mat. Pause, lift the top of the foot back up, roll it over to the side on your ball. Press down. Now all the rest of the toes are on your racquetball. Your big toe is trying to press down toward your mat. Relax that. Come back up. Roll that top part of the foot so you're back in center. Roll it forward a little bit. So now that tennis ball or racquetball is right in the ball of the foot. Press into your heel, lean forward, press into the ball of your foot, and then keeping that heel connected, rotating on the heel, rotate across the ball of your foot. So that ball is rolling to the outside edge of the ball of the foot and inside. And we'll pause. Come forward a little more. So now we're just behind the ball of the foot, getting into the first part of the arch. Press. Pivot on that heel, back and forth. And pause. Come forward a little more. So now we're really into the arch. And now we're going to come forward and backward. So imagine a little fan or shell shape. And we're going to trace those lines on the bottom of the foot. So maybe I'm starting at the inner part of the foot on the arch of the foot that's just closest to the ball. And then I'm going to roll back toward my heel, roll back, center of the foot. So top of the foot to back of the foot in the arch. And then we'll pause. Roll all the way forward so your heel is right on your ball. Touch down the toes and the balls of the foot. You'll probably have to bring that back foot forward a little, and then just press that heel, that calcaneus bone, right down into your racquetball or tennis ball. And then lift that up, roll yourself back a little bit. If you need to let that right foot come back a little bit again so you can find balance, bring your toes to your ball and try to pick up your ball with your toes. I never get it the first time, so don't use that as your example. Usually it's much more challenging. So after a couple times trying to get that articulation, trying to curl those toes around the ball, we'll switch over to the other side. Heels connected, left foot slides back a little bit. I bring that big toe onto the ball, try to press the rest of my toes down toward my mat, toward the floor, toward the earth. And then I'll relax that, pivot on that heel, the rest of the toes come to the ball. I lean forward, try to press that big toe down. Lifting that top part of the foot, rolling forward. We're right in the ball. Press down, pivoting on that heel, rotating toward the outer edge of the ball of the foot, inner edge of the ball of the foot. Relaxing, coming forward. We're just on the upper part of the arch, just behind the ball of the foot. Press down, rock side to side. And pause, coming forward a little more. We're in the arch, now moving the length of the foot in the arch, rolling toward the heel, rolling toward the ball, inner and outer edges, and right in the middle. Don't lose your ball like I just did. Roll yourself all the way forward. Let that heel come right to the center of your ball. Scoot your back leg in as needed. Press down. Getting ready to roll yourself back, bringing the toes back to your ball. Try to pick up that ball. See, this is a much better example of what it is usually like for me to try to pick up that ball with my toes. I don't even think I can get it today. And then after a few times trying to do that, we're just gonna set our ball aside and we're gonna rest in a mountain pose, feeling the soles of the feet fully connected to your mat. Maybe noticing any differences side to side, anything particularly interesting that you can sense in the feet or the bottoms of the feet, toes, arches, anywhere else. And then coming down into a seat, we're gonna send one leg long, or you can keep a little bend in it if that feels better. Support that knee, hips in whatever way you need. And then our other leg, we're gonna bend the knee and bring that foot in toward us. So we can just grab onto that foot with our hand and using our thumbs, just start to give that foot a little massage. So using both thumbs, I'm just pressing in, making some little circles all over the whole bottom surface of the foot, all the way out to the outer edge. Inner edge, coming up to the toes. And then I'll pause, release this foot, send it long, give it a little point and flex or a shake. Leave that leg long, bring that other foot in, taking those thumbs to the bottom of the foot, pressing in, making those little circular movements all over the whole bottom surface of the foot, including inner edge, outer edge, toes. And sending that leg long, point and flex those ankles one more time, give them a little shake. So hopefully you had some fun ideas here that you can play around with. Any of those things that we did, I would encourage you to increase the length a little bit as you have time in your practice, making sure that you're staying nice and soft in those tissues and relaxed in the breath. Enjoy exploring. Thanks.